give the floor to Mohan Pieris, PR of Sri Lanka. Dear Mohan, you have the floor. Mohan?
Yeah, thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, Ambassador Guillermo, for this great initiative that you have started this morning. I must congratulate you on this wonderful discussion we have had. I must thank Colombia for hosting this event. And listening to Mr. Ocampo, Pavel, and Perez, I must say, at least we have some hope that this whole issue is being very seriously addressed. We have some hope because we know that it is no secret that the economies of middle-income countries are hemorrhaging, if I was to use the word, especially those at the lower middle-income category have been severely impacted by the pandemic. So it is indeed incumbent upon like-minded middle-income countries, in my view, to come together into a common platform to assess the actual situation and design, perhaps, a common strategy to overcome the existing hindrances with greater resilience. So at present, as far as Sri Lanka is concerned, as we know, we are going through a very difficult time, and we've negotiated with the IMF just last week due to economic hardships triggered both by sustained impact of the pandemic and the global political and security scenario. Now, this situation was further aggravated, Ambassador, by the challenges of the macroeconomic policy making of the pandemic environment that sought to strike a balance between stimulating growth through export orientation and import substitution. Now, at present, we are in a situation where the ability to service our debt is very low. And the Central Bank of Sri Lanka is currently in discussions, as I said, with the IMF and our bilateral partners for assistance and restructuring of the debt burden. So the Monetary Board of the Central Bank has also increased the standing deposit facility and the standing lending facility rates as substantial policy responses to arrest the demand-driven inflationary pressures in the economy and preempt the escalation of adverse inflationary expectations, to provide the required impetus to stabilize the exchange rate and also to correct anomalies observed in the market interest rate structure. Now, in the context of the management of the pandemic, we know that the government and the authorities of Sri Lanka have done a commendable job. And now, Sri Lanka, therefore, took steps to provide some of the few things. We provided a moratorium for Sri Lankan businesses to tide through any difficulty. We continue to provide cash-in-kind grants to the vulnerable groups and most affected sectors of the economy during the lockdown period. So while doing so, Sri Lanka also had to face formidable challenges of facing its external debt obligations. It should be noted that Sri Lanka's economy was already vulnerable to the external shocks on the eve of the pandemic, as the earnings from tourism industry drastically declined after the Easter Sunday attack. So it's against this backdrop, Ambassador, we would have liked to have seen the international community responding in a way that they would have taken into consideration that this was a global pandemic and greater assistance provided to those in the lower middle income category, who tends to be graded by global credit rating agencies as if though the world was in a normal situation. However, it is unfortunate to see the credit rating agencies downgrading many of us in the immediate aftermath of the pandemic, which resulted in less accommodation for the countries to maneuver and having to opt for borrowing funds at very high rates. The excess funds they have to allocate for debt servicing could have been allocated to help entrepreneurs or people in need. So, my dear Ambassador, while thanking you, what we need perhaps is the debt service suspension initiative number 1, or we need emergency finance or bridging finance, and perhaps a rapid finance instrument to be put in place as a matter of absolute urgency, because we are at the edge of an abyss and we will never be able to come out of this problem that we have unless we are helped as a matter of utmost urgency. I thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much, dear Ambassador Mohan. And thank you for your comments, because it's really true that we need support and that we need the special cooperation of the multilateral banks to go ahead with the proposals that our group are doing regarding flexibility and regarding the recognition of vulnerabilities as a new index for finance our necessities. Thank you for your presence today. I really congratulate and I thank you for being with us today. Now I